What's up, pretty gang? It's your favorite nail tech, Peaches. Welcome back to my channel, and today we have a really simple look with just like a little pop of something. And so I'm going to explain to you basically how we got from nothing to something, because this client literally did not know what she wanted at all. Okay, before we get into it, I apologize. YouTube is playing with my emails. You guys already know, sometimes YouTube lets me see my emails, sometimes not. Like, I can't look at old emails, but in the meantime, you guys follow me on social media and check the description bar for coupon codes and discounts. Okay, helps y'all and it helps me. Okay, so first things first, we're just shaping the tips to Coffin. I do have like very detailed Coffin shaping videos here on my channel. I'll like put some somewhere in the video or whatever, but I just kind of wanted to keep this in because people do ask me like, what type of tips do you use, what type of files do I use? Y'all, the only tips I ever use are just ones from the beauty supply store. I mean the nail supply. They're like 50 cents. If you don't have a nail supply near you, like these, you're most likely not really going to be able to find these online, just because these are just standard traditional tips, honestly. But I think Mia's Secret might have some. I don't know what they call theirs, some type of curved tip something. I can't guarantee you they're going to be the same thing, but that's probably maybe the closest that you'll get. I don't know how they fit, sizing, all that or whatever. But yes, when it comes to any shape outside of square, I do not cut anything. I file every shape like this, basically, because I feel like you get a much more custom shape, a much more tailored shape. And also, once you cut the sides, if you mess up one side, like, you're screwed. There's not going to be too much you can do to fix it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people be trying to tell me, like, here on YouTube, like, why do you cut it? You shouldn't do it this way. Why don't blah blah blah. It don't matter because my results be good. Okay, so this is the Coffin that best suits her because her nails are smaller. If I were to go any skinnier, to me, honestly, it wouldn't look very flattering, and there would be almost no real visible design, if you know what I mean. So this is where we left it at. So this blooming gel is Mia's Secret. I honestly do not like it. She saw a picture that I had done on a previous client, and first of all, she did not know what she wanted at all. So I'm like, hey, do you have a budget? You have an inspo? You have something? She's like, I really don't know. Her man was like last minute planning to take her on a trip and was like, get your nails done. So yeah. So she was like, when I asked what about color, she was like, I like pinks and nudes. And then she ended up showing me something that had like a marble. Then she showed me the set that she was inspired by my previous client. So I decided, okay, let's do the croc print ombre one. And so I just threw in some pops of pink between the white. I know it's something you don't normally see all the time. Normally it is just the standard one color. And so I thought, you know what, let's do it a little bit differently. Her budget was $90, so I was like, you know what, we'll go ahead and do it like this. Now, the reason why I'm saying I do not like this particular blooming gel, normally I use the Beatles blooming gel, like off of Amazon. Okay, the reason why I don't like this one, although the texture is like cool, like it's thick but not like too thick, I don't like the way it blooms, if that makes sense. And I didn't realize there was a lot of differences, okay? Because look at how I'm doing this finger. Y'all, the way it blooms so fast, almost too fast. Like normally I can do 2 fingers and they will slowly bloom. Like by the time I'm done with the second finger, it still has some wiggle room to go. But already look at the first finger. Yeah, didn't like it. So Nude Panther is the nude that we're using by Not Polished. You already know. It's not polished, it's not nothing. Core Clear by Young Nails Liquid, as well as the Protein Bond. Okay, so pretty much when it comes to application, I have done I have done videos on doing like croc print ombres. The thing is, because I did top coat these after they were cured, now the top coat is slippery. So the ombre, if you're not careful, you have to have a very gentle hand. What the hell? Oh, you have to have a very gentle hand, otherwise the color is going to slip right off. You can rough up the top coat, that is an option. I just don't really care to like file or anything like that, whatever. But if that makes it easier for you, go ahead. Now you can see on this one, I didn't use a gentle enough hand and the product pretty much wiped all away. But you're gonna have to let it dry down a little bit before you continue, if that makes sense. So it will be a little bit of back and forth between whatever ombre fingers that you're doing. But basically I start by just doing the general first layer, so that way I know like, okay, this area is definitely going to be ombre, and then I do the apex area so that way I can see how like opaque do I want the color, and like how far down. Generally for me, when I do croc print, that first, where that pink is, that area is always going to be completely covered, and then the next like ladder, I guess the next line in the croc is going to be somewhat see-through, and then basically less and less. I typically don't ombre past like the third notch or the third line, just because it is an ombre, so you don't, with ombres, you don't want it to be direct like 50-50. So whatever the pattern is, whatever the bottom color is, you don't want that to be like completely the same amount as the ombre color. So basically the nude or whatever the top is, right? You kind of want something to be like the bottom half, you want that to be like 70% showing, and then the top 30, or even like 80-20. So one has to show more than the other, okay? If that makes sense. That's how you get a really good ombre. I have tons of ombre videos on my channel. I'll link some somewhere in here as well. So once I'm like, okay, this is cool, I'm going to continue kind of building the apex area. And as I'm doing that, whatever I don't need for the apex, I'm just going to swipe down and pull it down basically until where I am happy, okay? So you can see I'm going down, dragging it a little bit, because like I said, it is an ombre, so you don't want it to be too covered up, but you also want a good amount of sheerness down at the bottom. If you feel like you dragged it too down, go ahead and take your brush. You can kind of like back drag it basically to where you're like swiping the product up rather than down, how I'm doing right here. That will take care of that. You can even take the tip of your brush and kind of like poke at the product and like kind of lift it up. And yeah, like I said, just work on the apex area, and whatever's left over, that's going to provide the sheerness for the tip. Another like trick to this is like, if you're not sure on if you have a good ombre or not, whatever nail is like drying a little bit more, you can just take your brush with some liquid and just wet the nail, and you will be able to see what your ombre looks like, okay? Because I know it is kind of hard, especially doing clear ombres. Like, okay, where am I at? How much is too much? Blah, blah, blah. So like I said, it's a lot of back and forth for these two nails. I just kind of wanted to show you guys. See how I'm like getting rid of some product? How, I mean, like you can back brush or take the tip of your brush and like move the product around. Knowing how to remove product, where to put product, you know, product placement, those are going to be things that really are going to help you out, because it's going to keep you from basically being able to save certain things. And when you make mistakes, things are not going to be like life-threatening basically. So yeah, it's a good skill to have, okay? And so we're going into just regular application. I don't even think I showed the thumb, because it's like, you guys have seen me do regular application a million times. I'm only showing certain things because you know, the set was Coffin, and I know you guys want to see other types of shapes and things like that. So basically, you guys did not see me wet the nail. That's why that nail is still wet again. So basically, like I said, I kind of took my brush that was like damp or wet, whatever, and I went ahead and moved it over the nail, and it pretty much revealed what does the ombre look like, okay? And so I was happy with that, and so I decided to go ahead and move on, okay? So when you have like clients who are like indecisive, because like I said, this client did not have any idea of nothing. I don't require my clients to have like a picture when they come in, but time is everything, you know? So it's like the first, this is how I put it, right? Because people, okay, I'm coming to realize like the reason nail techs get so mad about when people don't know what they want is because they really sit there with the client until the client figure out what they want, and they're not staying busy. So if the client does not know what they want, pretty much I'm gonna do my prep regardless, because as long as you know your length, your shape, all that stuff, that has nothing to do with the actual design itself. So you should be multitasking, and while they're looking at pictures or you're talking to them, my personal way that I work is I'm going to be doing the prep. I'm going to be filing your nails. I'm going to be putting on tips, doing all that stuff all the way down to shaping. Once I start putting primer on, I'm like, okay, you got the colors done. You got like, so that's like a solid 15-20 minutes for them to like figure it out and for you to talk them through it. And honestly, that's plenty of time. So if your clients are taking longer than that, I would suggest you kind of like keep them on track, let them know like, hey girl, I do have like other clients, so we're gonna have to like choose very soon, because I have to, like, once I'm done with prep, I gotta keep working, like, you know. So that's my advice on that. I know there are, like I said, some people do struggle with like, oh, clients don't know what they want, and honestly, it's not the end of the world. So the way I guided her, because like I said, she didn't know what she wanted, so I'm like, okay, do you have like, you know, do you want something that's just like a plain background with a design on it? Do you want nail art? Do you want, and she left a note saying it was like a birthday set. So I'm like, do you want anything to do with like Scorpio stuff? Oh, and then I was like, what's your budget? Once you figure out people's budget, that's gonna tell you like, okay, well, these are the things that would fit into your budget. How do these sound? So then that's what I'm like, do you like ombre? And if they say, oh no, I'm like, okay, do you like French? Oh, kind of. Okay, do you like marble? Yeah. Do you want multiple designs, or do you want one solid design? And I always tell them like, one solid design will stretch your budget a little bit further sometimes than having like a whole bunch of designs. So that's pretty much how you can talk to your client and guide them to the right path. And you know, some people are gonna be like, oh, I just want you to do it, and then I will tell them like, you know, this is not really a freestyle, so for the sake of time, at least give me a little direction, because freestyles for me personally, I just book it as 3 hours, just because you like, I don't have them pick the shape basically. And also my freestyle category is like for junk sets, freestyles, and like super duper blinged out sets, so it just kind of gives me a lot of wiggle room to do different shapes, different lengths, and different types of designs, you know, things like that. So I will tell them like, you know, this is not a real freestyle, so I just need a little bit of direction, and then I can work with that and I'll make something for you. So that's pretty much the route we ended up going. She showed me a set that she likes, like I said, and based on her budget, because that set obviously had, well, not obviously, but that set had more going on, so this is what we ended up with. And she really liked it. I guess she came to me about a year ago and has not had her nails done since. So we were just talking about how she wants to keep up with her nails, but you know, she's busy and things and like that. So I was just giving her advice on, you know, if you are a busy person, you can always get a fill, because that is a shorter appointment, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. So here we are shaping. Once you get your base to be really good, the shaping does not take very much time at all. Like I said, I personally do not do super duper like skinny coffins, especially because her fingers are already on the slimmer side. Like her actual nail beds itself is skinny, so when you think about it, the coffin is more about the that angle. So you can see it's like a coffin, how it's like, okay, it starts one way and it slims down to that like, I want to say sharp point, that's not the right word, but you see what I'm saying. So you really want to keep your file against the edge, and you really want to learn how to use your file vertically. That's going to help you a lot in being able to control where you're shaping, because the thing about it is, with these type of shapes, you're not always needing to shape the whole entire thing. Like sometimes you just need to fix up the tip or this, that, and the other, and so you need to learn how to use your file. Okay, I use an oval file. Someone asked me the other day, like, why do you use an oval file? Why not square? I was doing another nail tech's nails, and I was like, square files to me personally are very awkward to hold, and a lot of times they do not allow you sometimes to shape the way you really need to shape. I am a person that hand files a lot, so that is important for me. And she mentioned that like, oh, you know, those files are a little more bendier, and they are a little more flexible, but the way you hold it in your hand allows you to reach more places. I know a lot of people are into square files now because they see other nail techs using them, but you guys definitely try to experiment with things that might fit your preference. I notice a lot of people ask me questions in the comments, and I feel a bit like, yeah, I can tell you what I use, which I do, but I'm always gonna lead with like, hey, this is a preference thing. You know, like the grit of file that I use, which is 80/80 black files, might not be the grit that you like. You might like a white file or a zebra file, or you might like 100/180. So, you know, it's all preference. So don't look at someone's video and think I'm gonna get all that stuff and my results are gonna come out just as good, because it's not true. You might spend your money on all that stuff and it doesn't work for you because you don't have the same hands, you don't have the same brain. Like everybody works differently. So just, you know, like keep that in mind when you guys are looking to see like, oh, what should I buy, what should I get, how can I improve. It's more about technique than anything, because even with a doled out file, I can still achieve the same results, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's that on that. Okay, so basically we're just trying to make sure that all 10 nails are evenly tapered, evenly shaped. We do not want this to look like a square because she asked for Coffin, so you can visibly see that there is a difference between what a square would look like and a Coffin. Like I always say, I would get out of the habit of like that whole tapered square stuff, because some people's tapered square looks like this, other people's looks like a regular square, and so it kind of, clients don't know what to expect, and it kind of hinders their expectations a little bit. So that's why I stick with just like, oh, you know, square, Coffin, stiletto, blah blah blah, and then I give them the shape that looks best on their hands. Okay, because as I said, too skinny on her, it would not look the best, honestly. But like I said, I've done her nails before a while ago. I don't know what shape she got, but you know, she was happy with it. So here we go. We're doing a little bit of bling, and yeah, I just decided to add just a tiny bit of bling, just because, you know, the picture did have a little bit, and she was saying that you know, these might be her engagement nails. I'm not sure. I don't know if you guys have been having a lot of that lately, but I've had like a couple girls in the past couple months like, oh, I think these might be my engagement nails. So I don't know if is it that time of year, is that just the season or what, because yeah, this is like the third or fourth person that's like, oh, we're doing X, Y, and Z, he might propose, blah blah blah. So I'm like, oh, okay girl, let's hook it up. So yeah, that's why I did add bling, because I'm like, well, I guess just in case, I don't, you know, you don't want to be too plain. And honestly, it seems like she's normally kind of a plain person, so this set was out of her comfort zone. Although it might be, you know, plain and basic to a lot of people, this for her was like a lot, and so she was very happy with it, and I was so glad she was happy with it. She was like, this is the best set I've ever had, and she was like, oh, you know, not to disrespect the last set you did for me, but like, I just really like the set. And I was like, girl, it is not a problem, like, ever for you to think one of my sets is your favorite set, no matter which one it is. So after this, we pretty much top coated and we were all done. I hope you guys enjoyed this end result. You know, stay tuned for more videos. Hopefully I have another video for today, and of course, you know, this is the final result, and as usual, I'll see you guys in the next one.